So we're here waiting to meet Mike McPhie, who is the president and CEO of Curis Resources. Now, what we hear about Mike is that he's a stand-up guy who's worked his way all the way up to the top from the bottom. He's very involved with community, with youth, and he travels a lot. So as soon as he's done his meeting, whenever that will be, he'll meet us here. So we'll just wait and wait and wait. Hi, Mike. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Great pleasure to meet you too, Meg.
I look forward to this. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're very, very busy.
Not at all. Pleasure to be here.
Good stuff. So let's go, sign 2 pieces of paper, make a couple calls.
Not quite. Actually, what we got to do in about 2 hours, getting on a plane, we're on our way down to Arizona. We got some business to take care of there. Have you back in a couple of days. Are you good with that?
No.
Good. Let's go. Michael McPhie, President and Chief Executive Officer, Curis Resources. Just started as a contractor in a small company coming out of university and got to fly all around the north and do some really neat stuff. And since then, I went into operations for 5 years. So I worked in Northern Ontario in Timmins, an old gold mining camp up there, and then have made my way incrementally all the way along. So I've held technical positions and then increasingly management positions. And ultimately, I got to the point where I'm the CEO of the company. But it certainly didn't happen overnight. And it's been a lot of hard work, but really fun too.
We're heading down to one of your properties, your main property.
Main project, yeah.
Okay, and this is something, this sort of a trip is something that you do on, an annual basis?
Oh no, like every few weeks. I do a lot of travel, all over the world. I think probably in the last, I have super elite status on like 3 different airlines at this point. Probably in the last 6 months, I've been to Europe, I've been to China, I've been to the US a bunch of times, Eastern Canada, New York, Boston, Toronto, all these things. And it's hard work, but it's really cool at the same time. I spent the first 5 to 10 years of my career going in the most remote parts of the world. So I was in little Twin Otter planes flying into remote camps in the Arctic and living in tents and doing all that sort of stuff. I really got my hands dirty all the way along. And the great thing about the mining industry is so much of it is remote. And you get to go to so many cool places, and sometimes people pay tens of thousands of dollars for tourist trips to go into places that I went to work, right?
So what happened is Mike dragged us all the way out here to Arizona. Florence, Arizona is where his operation is taking place. It's 30 degrees outside. I have no idea how he does it. He does it every single week or every other week or so. The difference between him and a lot of other CEOs, which is what I've noticed, is that he actually is a hands-on kind of guy. He doesn't sit in his office and remote control steer this operation. He actually gets down here quite often.
Mining business is pretty technical, and if you don't understand what people are doing on a day-to-day basis, it's hard for people to have respect. I think the best leaders are the ones that actually understand what the folks are doing on the ground. So I'm just as happy to do some of the hard work, manual labor, whatever it is, to get it going, because it's all about a team, right? I'm as much a part of the team as anybody.
For a town as small as Florence, Arizona, it's a pretty big deal to be creating 100 jobs and securing the livelihood of a lot of families and providing for a lot of people. So, I'm pleasantly surprised what we've seen following Mike. There's a little bit more traveling to do with him, which seems to be the theme in his job. He just goes, and goes.
If I could send one message out to youth, it would be get your basic degree, get out in the field, get some experience, have some fun, learn the trade, learn which part of the business you like too, right? Because if you think you're going to be X, you may start working out there and find out, what, actually that's not what I like Y. So the only way you're going to find that, it's not from textbooks, and it's not even from talking to people, it's from actually going out there and experiencing it yourself. When I finished university, I lived up north, and I went to Northern Ontario and lived in a small town and got to know people and had some of the best time in the world. I made so many friends, right? And now when I come back, and now I'm an executive in downtown Vancouver, people understand that I have a first-hand knowledge of what's taking place on the ground. And I really think in the resource sector in particular, you got to get your hands dirty. You got to be willing to get out there, and don't think that it's going to go straight from UBC or SFU or BCIT or any of those schools and you're going to walk straight into executive position. There's no way. Anybody who's been successful in this business has put their time in, at least the good ones. You know what's so cool about it? It's really fun.
Being a CEO sounds glamorous, And we're all certainly guilty of envying the lives we think they lead. However, what we don't consider is the hard work, time, and the effort these individuals put into reaching these very accountable positions. They travel extensively, often being away from friends and family for long periods of time. Just one of the many sacrifices in order to build successful companies, which in turn build strong communities.